Welcome back to Sledgehammer Horror, guys. I am Ken Sledge, and let's talk horror. Now, today I am joined by a repeat visitor and a brand new face. So let's talk about our repeat visitor first, Bryan Scamman. Bryan, how you doing, man?
I'm fantastic, man. Happy to be back. You couldn't
Dude,
keep me
it
away.
is such an honor to have you back. I'm so excited about this. We talked about it right after, and I couldn't bring you on to talk about this without bringing on the man himself, Emanuele Pica. Gosh, I'm never going to say that right, man, and I'm so sorry. How you doing today, brother?
I'm very well, thank you. It's just fine the way you said it. No worries.
um, so, guys, we are here today to talk about the box. But before we do that, especially with you, Mr. Pica, I would like to talk about, what gave you the idea? I know that this was written. You had a lot of amazing writers come on and write this with you. Jonathan Doyle, you had William Halfin, Luke Irgardia. A lot of people come on to help write this with you. What gave you the idea for the box?
I like the idea of power dynamic. So someone that is so powerful that he can control his environment, and now he finds himself flipped, and he's on the other side, and the approach that he takes. I was fascinated by the idea of what would a man of such a big power like do in that kind of situation. So that was like the premise of all.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, just so you guys kind of have an idea, the non-spoiler synopsis of this, you have a CEO, Laser Griffin. He finds himself trapped in a living nightmare where the only way out of the torture, out of the box, is to accept not only the crimes that he's done, but the horrific punishment for those crimes. So the guy sounds like a real douche. So, Bryan, what was it like to bring this guy to life?
It was a lot of fun, man. I mean, we had some amazing creatives behind it. It was a pleasure working with Manuele, and this character was very interesting, just for all the reasons he just gave. That was interesting to him. He's this guy who's kind of got it all. He's almost kind of like an Elon Musk type, and it's yeah, when he's kind of literally brought to his knees, and several times, as a matter of fact. It's interesting to see that kind of power like fade from him. There's a lot of times where he starts to act like this amazing CEO, and he's got everything figured out. Whatever problem he has, he can pay off. But when he's in the box, that's not the case, and he doesn't take that so well. But playing all the different dynamics of that was really intriguing and a lot of fun to play with.
So, and just so we are all on the same page, this is not a short film. This is a feature-length film, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that everybody knew that as well. So Manuele, we're talking about you guys had a lot of amazing people coming on, but how involved were you on set? Are you a pretty hands-on type of guy?
I was, but it was like it was a team effort. So it doesn't matter like what my involvement was. Like I never would have been able to do it, without all the other people that were involved. So it was like really like a team effort. It takes a village. So
Yeah.
my job is to facilitate this and create the atmosphere and create engagement with cast and crew, and then just like let it go.
Yeah. Well, and I've always talked about how, especially with horror, the score and things like that can really make or break a horror film. And with this, something super special is you had Grammy Award winning singer and songwriter Paulina Aguirre, who appears as a cameo in the film as well, to write the main song. And the original score was done by Dario Forzato. Now, how hands on were you with the score and the original song, Manuel? Is that something that you were really hands on with, or is that something where you were like, hey, you guys shoot me some ideas and I'll give you my feedback on those?
So I was very fortunate to work with both. Paulina did an incredible job, and she's such an incredible artist, very talented, and so delicate with her touch. So in her case, I knew that she would like basically feel the right atmosphere. So I said, just do whatever you feel. And the song that she brought from the very first draft was just incredible. And I knew that she was just the right person for it. With Dario, I knew that Dario, from his previous work, was able to create the best score, but the score is something more organic, more complicated. Not that the song isn't complicated, the song is complicated too, but the score delivers like the entire story throughout the film. So with him, I gave him the film, he watched the film, then we had like a couple of very long chats, and I had an idea that I wanted to create a different kind of music, as opposed to the typical like tone that you have in horror movies. I wanted to go more for something different, electronic, and I had some references, and I was very happy and fortunate that Dario had exactly the same idea. So from that point on, it was extremely quick. So he brought ideas that was perfectly in line, and it was very quick, and it was like a great pace for the music.
Right. Because I'm a huge fan of scores. I think scores can make or break films at certain points. I have a bunch of vinyl records over here of some of my favorite scores. So I'm very, very excited to see how that comes into play. And for you, Bryan, we talk about how, he's in the box. You have Laser Griffin in the box, but before or after or during, I don't know, because I don't know anything about this film either, guys. I want to go into this spoiler free as well. That's how excited I am about this film. But you were fortunate to collaborate with like the Big Bang Theory actress Alice Amtier, Christy St. John, James McCoy. What was it like to be able to be on set with these guys?
Well, fun fact, I wasn't. I'm literally in the box by myself, for about not, yeah, I don't think it's spoiling, but it's like 98% of the movie is me in this room. Yeah, so while it would have been cool to get to meet them and work with them, it was all me. And this being my first lead role in a feature, thank you very much, Manuela.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was just such an incredible experience, and I've never worked that hard in my life, but I was more than happy to put in the work and prove myself. And we would have like 12-hour days, pretty average, but then I'd come home and work on the script, and I'd oftentimes work all night memorizing the next 8 or 9 pages that we were shooting the next day, and I had a blast every second of it. And yeah, so it was great working with me. No. But everyone was great on set. It really does take a village, like Manuel said, and everyone just did their jobs beautifully, and it was just so much fun. There's a lot of physicality. I got to introduce to this, and like stunts is kind of like a fun thing I've touched on here and there, and there was a lot of stunts on this one. I still got a shoulder thing because of it. 11 months later.
I imagine, yeah.
That was gonna be one of my next questions, because I know that you're in the box now. When you're in the box, like you said, it's you in there trying to figure things out. You've done a lot of shorts. You've been in features. This is your first time as a lead role. But what's it like to be in there by yourself? Because I know a lot of times it's easier to bounce off your partner. You're bouncing off your co-stars. The people that you're working with. How do you keep that positivity and that drive when it's just you in the box by yourself?
Well, that's a good question because again, I didn't have the box alone. Really, it was a nice, small, tight knit crew, and they were all in the room with me. So, kind of the most difficult part of that was staying like in it, and like oftentimes I would have the entire crew kind of in my eye line, and I'm like just having to focus on this security camera that I'm talking to this voice that has me in the room and is doing these things to me. And we had some great readers. Chloe was amazing, and yeah, so I had the reader off camera, but I was having to keep my gaze and everything to the camera when I wasn't looking for these things to help me get out of the box. And so like it was challenging in so many ways, but again, I just had such an amazing time, dealing with all that and figuring it out. And it was a great opportunity to prove what I can do. So yeah, I had an amazing time.
Some of the biggest horror movies, in my opinion, you get movies like Evil Dead 2, where for 90% of the run, it's a one-man show. He's in there in the cabin by himself doing his thing. So those, I think it really, really shows the depth of an actor. When you obviously have the other crew that's there with you, but on camera it's you, and it's you doing your thing, and that can't help it without Manuele's amazing writing skills as well. But we also got to give some props elsewhere too, because the film was produced by CAA producer David Dubinsky, Gene Stone, Nick Messina, Manuele himself. But also it's going to be distributed by V Channels, one of the major distributors in the globe for streaming services. So before we talk about where it's going to be streaming or when you guys can see it, real quick, I want to show you guys an exclusive trailer never before seen until today. So here is the first ever trailer for The Box.
I just woke up in a random room, handcuffed to a chair with no idea how I got here. I have to get out of here.
You're about to embark on the most important 90 minutes of your life.
You must know who I am.
Complete 12 simple tasks in sequential order before the allotted time on the clock runs out.
Liza told you I raped her.
So I got to say, first and foremost, thank you guys. And also a really big thank you to Nick for allowing me to be able to premiere this trailer here. That is such an honor for me and Ashley to be able to have the first time this is shown here on Sledgehammer Horror. So thank you guys so much for allowing that. Now, obviously, with the strike just coming to an end, I know that things are still kind of up in the air and we're still trying to get things figured out a little bit. But Manuele, do we have any idea about which streaming services this may be going to and when we may be able to get our eyes on this?
So the film is being distributed by V Channels. Head of it is Nick Messina, and the film is currently being pitched, and the plan is to distribute it across a number of streaming platforms globally. We've had like really positive experiences, collaborating with V Channels before on other movies that have proved to be very successful. So I'm confident that we will have a good distribution across streaming platforms such as Amazon, Tubi, and so on. And we're expected to have the film distributed in spring 2024.
Awesome. Now, the best way for you guys to be able to keep up on when and where you're going to be able to see this film is by following these guys on social media. I have all their links down in the description. And when the film gets closer to release, I'm going to be talking about it too, because I'm super excited to see this film. You guys know how big I am a fan of thriller, psychological horror. And just from seeing the trailer, talking to these guys, this film is going to be something that's right up Ashley and I's alley. So that's something we're very excited about as well. Now, is there going to be any chance, Manuele, that we're going to get a physical release of the film, DVD, Blu-ray, anything like that in the future?
I'm not sure about that. The market is verging and changing very quickly. This is something that we should actually discuss with Nick. Is probably the one that is mostly interested in this. I know that he has plans for distribution globally in different countries, in different languages. So it's not excluded. I don't think that it's excluded per se. So we'll see. Like you said, if something like that happens, like it's in the horizon, like we can discuss it. We'll update everybody through social media.
Well, and if you do any type of Kickstarter, GoFundMe, Indiegogo, anything like that to try to help promote and try to get those physical copies out there, please reach back out, because I'm a huge fan of physical media, because a streaming platform cannot walk into my house to my shelf and take that movie off the shelf. So that's why I've always been a really big fan of physical media, and I can't wait to see what you guys have going for us. So
that's true. That's true. I agree with you. It gives you like a different feeling, the actual physical object.
Absolutely. And I'm a huge behind the scenes guy. So if we can get any type of commentary or behind the scenes, I promise I will be right there checking it out. Now, Spoiler free, obviously, Bryan. What were some of your biggest challenges being in the box?
Well, there was definitely the issue with the eye line. That was the kind of the hard thing. But I don't really have anything to complain about the experience. It was just such a great, I don't know. I just had such a great time doing it and working with everyone. And Manuele is the most collaborative director I've ever worked with, and made this just such a pleasure. It was just such a pleasure to work with him. And I mean, yeah, that was kind of the hardest part. But I mean, you got to have the crew in there, or you don't have a movie. So
Right.
you just deal with it. These are actor problems.
Well, and that was going to actually be my next question with Manuele. When you're a director, when you're, this was your baby, this was your idea, you were the writer. I know you had some writing partners to help you, kind of shape it and put it to life. But when you're actually there on set and people are trying to come up with, hey, maybe we should try this, maybe we should try that. How willing are you to zig and zag at these certain moments and try some other things out?
I am 100% open to any advice, tip, suggestion. My job isn't to frustrate what may be like people's ideas. My job is to create an atmosphere. The film is my baby, but everybody that has babies, everybody knows that baby is a person, with their own personality. So the moment that the film is out, so the moment that the film is finished, is everybody's, not my film anymore. So
Right.
Once I create engagement, so it's all preparation. So I have to select, the right people from my perspective that, can engage with that atmosphere. Once we're on set, everybody is welcome to, express their opinion. And I actually like that. So the script needs to be finalized the very best way, has to be sealed, the story and everything. Once we're on set, I like to work with the actor. I like to see what they can come up with. So I try not to give any indication, any directing. As first thing I say, show me. That's the only way that you have to see what the actor, has worked on. The moment that you say something, the directing will bring the actor, on a different track. And I want to see they're on track, and I want to see what other people. I often ask questions, like everybody in the crew. Like Bryan mentioned that like the eyeline thing, and I was aware of this. As a matter of fact, I try to keep the crew as minimum as possible. At the same time, I was myself like often out of the room, just watching the monitor, providing my direction before and after, because I didn't want it to have any distraction. But with that said, everybody is welcome to bring an idea. The main thing is to know when to bring the idea. There are right. The sense of time is very important. So if I'm talking to the actor, it doesn't make sense that people talk. If I, during the scene, you don't want people talking or commenting or coming to you. There's all like this is something very sensitive, but there's always a moment, and everybody's welcome to say, I think we could try this. What do you think? And I often, take those ideas.
Well, and you were talking about how, once you're on set, and the minute you yell action, a lot of people that haven't been on set, and I'm not trying to be condescending or anything like that, but the sensitivity of those mics, your boom mics and things like that, you're going to pick up somebody that's stomping around 3 rooms over, So like you said, there's always a time and a place if you want to come and talk to me. And the fact that you are such an actor's director, I think that really makes people want to work harder for you, because you're not just a dictator that's up there. You're going to do this. You're going to do that. You stay over there and be quiet. Everybody's welcome to have like you said, for the time and place, people are welcome to bring their opinions and stuff to you. So people are going to work harder for you because they know that you're really there to work for them. So good on you, man. That's a really good way to be around a lot of the people that I've talked to, especially. They want to work for actors, directors. So great job on that.
It's everybody's film. Ultimately the DP, will have, his name in the film as director of photography. And and the makeup artists and producers and writers, actors, and everybody, like even the location sound mixer or the sound designer, they put their name, which means their work, their reputation. I want everyone to feel engaged, and I want everybody to feel that it's their film, and I want everybody to feel like two things very important: they're participating in something that is working, and it's also something fun, because like this is something that I feel we often forget about. This is like a fun thing to do. This is something not necessary at all. We have so many movies that have been made over 100 years of history of filmmaking, that we could just like stop making movies and still watch so many movies that we've never even like heard of for the next like 35 years. So if we want to make a movie, it has to be meaningful. And for the time being, once you're on set, in preparation, post-production, you gotta have fun. If you don't have fun,
Right.
it's not worth it.
Yeah.
That's incredible. And yeah, I got one more question for each of you before we go. Now, Bryan, we know that you were, in the room doing, like you said, sometimes 12-hour days. How many days were you actually on set for the box?
We shot it in like 9 or 10 days, and some of those days we had like short little shoots in other locations in the morning and then back to the box. The last day we shot in like a bar, but yeah, about as much of the film that we're in the box is about the same percentage that we shot in the box. So,
Man.
I became real good friends with that floor.
Oh no, and again, this is something incredible because, and like I said, I look at movies like Evil Dead 2, another film that I look at in the same area, and a lot of people may not consider this a horror film, but I completely do, is Phone Booth. 90% of the runtime is a guy inside a phone booth negotiating for his life.
Yeah.
And what did I do wrong? What can I do to fix this? But like you said, I'll pay you off. I got this nice watch. I'll give you this watch. I don't give a shit about your watch. I don't give a shit about your money. I care about your integrity, and I want to show you what you've done wrong. And, to see somebody who I now consider a friend in Bryan to be able to pull off such a great, amazing feat, I cannot tell you guys how excited I am to catch this film. So, one last question for you, Emanuele. What was your biggest inspiration for the film? I mean, like, we know that, the idea of having somebody that's can't get I got a price that, he's almost the $1 million man of the old WWF wrestling days. Everybody's got a price. I can do whatever I want because I have the money to get away with it. But was there a certain event or anything specific that happened that really jump-started your idea for the box?
My main inspiration is very close to what you just discussed. I wanted to show that, like, going back to the roots of movies, like they didn't have a lot of resources. So one character, one room, even small, not as small as a phone booth, but still.
Right.
And you create drama, you create action, you create, pathos, you create like thrill. That's what I wanted. And that's why we really never like get out of the room. Like Bryan mentioned that we shot like something, out of the room. But, once you get to see the movie, you will realize what I'm saying. Like, we're never out of the room. And everything is always seen from the room's perspective. That was my main focus. I wanted to make the best possible film, always staying inside a room just with one character, and prove that you can make a movie like that with a lot of thrill and action, not getting people bored at all.
And I completely agree with you, because I don't need to see somebody running on top of a train going 1,000 miles an hour for my heart to start racing. The fact is, it's the story that gets your blood flowing, not how fast the guy's running on screen or how he can jump in the air firing 2 guns at once while he's flying through the air. Those things don't matter to me. What I want to see is a story that grips me, something that gives me anxiety, something that gives me a fear. And what's scarier than being in a claustrophobic little room with just a speaker and a camera to talk to for your own life? Because I think another thing, us as human beings, we try to gauge empathy by looking in someone's eyes.
Yeah,
we try to gauge hostility by looking in someone's eyes. And when you can't see the person that you're trying to negotiate your own life with at face to face, eye to eye, how are you gauging what this person is doing? That in itself is a horror story.
And that's the other thing. We tend to feel like very safe when we're home, but home can be the scariest place ever, because like nobody knows what's going on inside. So nobody knows really, how safe you are inside. So there have been so many films and books that have been made, in the history that prove how, inside, four walls, you can be in the safest and in the most scary place like ever. So that was the other thing. So thank you for noting that.
Yeah, absolutely. This is something, like I said, the minute that Bryan kind of gave me the summary of it, I was like, dude, we got to bring you guys back on. We got to talk about this film because, like I said, from just what I've heard, and I know just as much as you guys do at home, I don't ever try to ask for anything more because I don't want to go into these spoiled. I want to see everything as it's happening. But the idea of, being in a room, not being able to make eye contact, the absolute fear, and especially somebody that you may not have empathy for. This guy that thinks he can buy his way out of everything and other people's lives don't matter if he can give them money. He doesn't have to treat people kindly. He'll give them money. That's what matters in the world, not kindness, not love. Those things don't matter to this guy from what I've gathered. What matters is money and your place in society. So what happens when that's taken away from somebody? How animalistic are you willing to go to save your own life? So those type of things, that's real life horror to me. I don't need a guy in a hockey mask flipping over boats trying to find a young co-ed. I don't need a guy with a Christmas sweater to come into your dreams. Now, do I love those things? Absolutely I do. God, yes, I do. But when you talk about something like this is something that could happen tomorrow to me. And what do I do to get out of this situation? I get taken to a room and I'm talking to somebody begging for my life. What am I willing to do? What lengths am I willing to go to be able to hold my little girls again? So I absolutely understand the depth and the seriousness of a situation in a movie like The Box. So I know I said it earlier, guys, but the best way to stay up to date on this, a movie that, as you guys can tell, I'm very passionate about, I'm very, very excited about. Follow these guys on social media. Their links are down in the description. And I'm going to be giving you updates here too, because like I said, I'm genuinely excited about this. So the minute we have any type of release, these gentlemen will be posting it. I'll be posting it as well. So guys, please don't go anywhere. I got a couple more questions for you. Everybody else, if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. It helps the channel more than you know. And follow Sledgehammer Horror on social media. Our links are in the description as well. But until next time, keep talking horror. Stay what you are, and we'll see you guys soon.